Hey guys, welcome to the chat that's big and fat. My name is Dan, and welcome to try that again. Welcome to Solo Podcast number 7. Yay! So this week, as a lot of you will have known, who follow my Instagram or Twitter, I dropped the album that I've been talking about for the last 3 months. Yay! So yeah, it was meant to come out on the 26th of January, which was the date that would coincide with the release of my last EP 10 years ago. But I literally just got sick of looking at it on my hard drive. Like, that's actually what happened. I was just sat there and I was just making final tweaks, and I was just like, I can't be fucking bothered to play with this anymore. So I was just like, fuck it, it's pretty much done. So I dropped it, and that's what happened. So today we're going to talk about kind of what I realize is that album, as much as, let me pull this up, sorry, as much as kind of I made it with the last 10 years in mind, there isn't a lot of people that have known me for that long. Do you know what I mean? So like some of the stuff about my past, a lot of people will know about that, but then they don't know about the newer stuff, and then vice versa. So the people that have only recently come in my life, like some of my really, really old mates I haven't even met Eve, do you know what I mean? Like things like that. So like the whole album, front to back, was about stuff that's gone on in the last 10 years. Like that's what the premise of Decade was. So I'm just going to do like a quick like kind of rundown. So for people that don't understand the tracks and some people that don't like them, and that's fine because there's a lot of songs on here that I don't like anymore, and I feel like I rushed them. So basically, this is I know what this is going to turn into. It's just going to turn into like a self-critique. Let me put my headphones on. Hold on. Like to be able to hear my own voice, right? So, in general, when I released this album, I wasn't happy with it, and like I know there's an expectation of people to say that they don't like it because you can't toot your own trumpet, but like the issue that I had with Decade is the idea I started with is not the product that I ended with, and that kind of wound me up a little bit. So like I know that I'm lyrically better than the stuff that's on here. I think Breathe is probably my favorite song. And then I look through the track list and I'm just like, which one did I really put a lot of effort into? Now, like flow wise, I'm not like the flow wise. I think Blame the Dick, even though it's a song about having a massive dick, I think the actual flow on it and the writing style of that is spot on. And I think that's closer to where I think my talent is. It's closer to where I like my talent level is then. And then Breathe, I think lyrically and kind of passionately, that's one of the best songs on there. And we'll get to them all, but yeah. So I dropped it, and then a couple of trusted friends had already heard it. They'd already given me the lowdown on what they thought of it. There was a couple of mixing and mastering issues, which I already knew about, but it was just kind of, if I try to tweak everything, then I'm never going to release the album. That's what I kind of had in my mind, and I was just like, if I try to fix everything that's wrong with it, then it'll never get released because there's so many things that I didn't like about it. And yeah, so like I mean, it's been generally positive. The people that have been telling me that they liked it, thankfully, have also been giving me criticisms of the songs that they don't like. So like it hasn't just been like, oh my god, Dan, that's so fucking amazing, because I know it isn't. Like I'm fully aware that it isn't, and what it started as is like this comeback album that was going to show me at my best, lyrically, performing, but like performance wise and production wise. And then halfway through, I realized that, fuck no, I think this is like a learning experience. Do you know what I mean? I haven't made such a complex album in my life. Do you know what I mean? Like, and what I mean by complex is I did my first EP had like 4 songs on it, and there was features on it. Sorry. So it wasn't even really an EP or an album. It was just like a collection of songs that I made, and the effort there wasn't the effort that I was going to put in here. So like the idea was I would just I would think of topics in my life, in the last 10 years, and I would write a song about them. So like, and that's kind of what happened, but it was really, really lazily done by me, and it was my own fault. So yeah, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to kind of go through the songs, explain the story between the song and the reason why it ended up on the album, because I cut a lot. And yeah, so like for the people that don't understand some of the songs, then for some of the people that don't know me from my past, so like I was talking to, I'll tell you what, I'll get into that when I get to the song, but here we go. This is the rundown of the full track list and the reasons for the song and kind of what the song meant to me and why it stayed on from Decade, which is finally released. Big shout out to I Am Deadbird. He did the artwork cover, and if you haven't been over to the SoundCloud, I'm going to put the link to the SoundCloud, Kappa Joe Music SoundCloud, in the description, and you can go and have a look at this, the final result of the cover art. And what I'll do actually as well is I shall put it as the video thumbnail so that everybody knows. So yeah, I don't know. I think on Apple Podcasts, I don't know if I'm allowed to kind of to play music. I don't know if it's allowed to become music on Apple Podcasts, but I'm going to try anyway. So if it doesn't get to Apple Podcasts, I do apologize to anybody who solely listens over there. You'll just have to listen to this episode on SoundCloud. But what I'll do is I might just play snippets of all the songs. It depends if I fancy it or not. So the first track, which was kind of the reason that I got the album going in the first place again, was the Uncle Roger a cappella. So I recorded that, like I've said on a couple of podcasts before, like the one that I got a little bit upset on. I think it was episode 4, maybe 3 or 4. And or maybe 2 actually. And I said that, you know, my Uncle Roger, I was going through like a really, really tough time in my life. He gave me a call at a time that I really needed someone to call me. Then we'll leave it at that, so that it doesn't kind of go off skew a little bit. So like the Uncle Roger a cappella, I might play the full one because there's no music in that. So this went through hundreds of iterations. I'm lying, it's about fucking 6, but like 6 iterations of whether I added effects to it, like because there was like up until probably the day of release, up until Wednesday, the song had a lot of post-processing effects on it. I say song, it's an a cappella, so there's no music. And right at the last minute, I was listening to it and I was just thinking, that's kind of taken away from what that was. It was raw as fuck anyway, right? So like, for the people that haven't heard the podcast when I was talking about this, I wrote this kind of a cappella just as I was driving home, because I was like, I couldn't get him out of my mind. Like I was just like, fuck, I can't believe that he died so quick, and I couldn't get him out of my mind. So I just started kind of freestyle rap into myself just to kind of get over it. This was before Decade had even started existing. I was never thinking of kind of bringing back my kind of rap fucking thing, you know. I can't even think of the word. My brain's gone dead. But yeah, I wasn't thinking of bringing back the rapper that I used to be like. So I was just rapping to kind of to stop myself from crying, if I'm honest, like just to give me something to do while I was going. So I get home and I had only just ordered a USB mic. So the song the Uncle Roger a cappella is the only one that wasn't recorded with my XLR setup. It was recorded with a USB microphone, and I recorded it in one take, and my voice was breaking halfway through because I was gonna fucking cry. And then at the end of it, I was just like, "Fuck! I like this. This is the most meaningful song on the track on the album, you know." So I was thinking, I was like, maybe I should try having another go at this rap shit. Like, do you know what I mean? And just do it better this time. So yeah, like what I'll do now is I'll play Uncle Roger, from start to finish because there's no music in it, and what I'll do is then we'll just kind of debrief afterwards. So yeah, this is track 1 from Decade, which is my album 2019, about my Uncle Roger.
My Uncle Roger, he was larger than life. His jokes were bad, but he tried to put a smile on your face, the biggest smile you've ever smiled, and he'd never let you slide. We hadn't spoken for years, but he saw pain in the lines written on my Facebook timeline, and he could see that I was crying out for help. That man saved my life. Not the metaphor, he literally saved my life. He picked up the phone, found my number, and he dialed on a night that I was due to die. I'd drawn the blinds. That man's compassion was unmatched. He saw I needed help and he jumped into action, but this story is a sad one. He saved my life, but I was unable to give him back one, because he passed on. My dad told me you were ill and they couldn't stop it. I was gonna come and see you to say thank you, man, I promise, but if I'm honest, it went faster than a comet. 1 second you were fine and the next you were in a coffin. So here's my transmission. I hope that it gets through. I'm sorry I couldn't return the favor to you, but I'll be sure to share your legacy everywhere I go as the guy who saved me from myself, my uncle, my hero.
So that was it. Sorry, you just caught me while I was having a drink then. So I think the first thing people would say to me is like, why are you doing it in an American accent? And I got quite a simple answer to that. It's because I don't think that the Welsh accent sounds very good on a track. It sounds very Goldie Looking Shane, and I didn't want it to be a comedy, like, you know what I mean? I didn't want it to be funny. So that's the reason for that, to be honest. And yeah, so like my voice broke up as soon as I started talking about him dying, and like I said, the almost ready for release version was I'd added a little bit of reverb on it, touch of delay, a little bit of compression, and I kind of, you know, it sounded better, but I got to a point where I didn't really think that maybe I wanted it to sound better. You know, I wanted it to sound raw, and I wanted it to sound like the truth. Like, I wanted it to sound like I had lost somebody that I really, really cared about, and that I had a very, very emotional tie, like a very strong emotional tie to, and that's what Uncle Roger was about. And, you know, he died without me. He died without knowing the impact that he had on my life, and that was a tough time. But I mean, it inspired something in me. So like, to me, it isn't my best attempt at an album by any stretch, and I think that I could do way better. And what I did from this album is I learned a lot. I learned about the mixing and the mastering, and I learned where I fucked up now. And I also learned about the style of writing that fits me best, and I didn't do that much here. So what I think the style of writing fits me best is kind of writing the song without a beat in mind. If I just shoot from the hip and I just write, and I think that's where the best me comes out, because what I found I was doing is I was writing to the beats because I really wanted to get them done. So I'd kind of planned the beats before I planned the songs, and I was just like, right, what song could fit with this beat? Because Breathe didn't exist for a long time until I found a beat, and I was like, oh, fuck, sorry. I think I could drop hard on this, like, and that's kind of what happened there. My Revival had a totally different feel. First of all, My Revival was a really slow kind of beat that had a female vocalist on the hook again. But that's one of the reasons I changed it, is because there's a lot of females on the hook. So I got In Between, got Monsters, you got Breathe. Sorry. And I just didn't want any more songs that sounded kind of the same but weren't the same. Like, so that's the reason My Revival changed. It was kind of like My Revival started as well, I don't know why I'm skipping to track 9 when I've only just finished track 1, so I'll talk about that when I get to track 1, but to 9. But track 2, Picasso Is Dead. So people from my early days will understand this, and this song is kind of for them more than it is for anybody else, really. It was just kind of, you know, it was about the time when I was Picasso, like, as in, that was my rap name back in the day, and like, as embarrassing as it is now, that's the point of this song. It was just like, my name was Picasso, P fucking hyphen CASO. I don't know why. Don't ask me. Like, I have no idea. But that was my rap name, and back in the day when I started recording first, when I was using like a fucking not even a USB mic, a fucking 3.5mm jack mic, going into an M audio interface, and that's what I thought it was. So like, I felt like after Uncle Roger was like it was the opener. It was just like, okay, like, I'm like, it still hurts me to this day, but now I need to move on to something else. So like, Picasso is Dead is literally about me killing off the old style of rap that I had. So like a lot of people who have only just met me, or pretty much anyone who's picked up the podcast who hasn't been a friend for fucking 10, 15 years, may not understand this song, but there's little nuances in there, there's little words in there, there's little phrases in there that the people who I made this song for would understand, and the people who I made this song for are the boys who I went to school with, the group, you know, the LLC as we'll call them. So it was like that was the crew that was, you know, rolling about Llanelli at the time, and it was just like, so what I wanted this song to be about was just kind of how on reflection, I was full of shit, and I was a little fucking fanny. So I'm gonna see if I'll play a little bit of Picasso's Dead, and just hope that Apple Podcasts keep it in. I don't know what the rules are. I could be totally wrong, and they could just like let you play songs for whatever length. But what I'll try doing is I'll just do snippets of songs, and hope that Apple Podcast lets me fucking play it. So this is Picasso is Dead.
Picasso is dead, he's underneath my bed. I killed him, I buried every word he ever said. He was a bullshit artist in front of his friends, but you stepped to him directly, watch him piss soak himself. Gangster tripping, echo tracky tripping, fat farms on his feet that he be looking slicking. Threaten you with kickings, Eminem he mimicking. It's all his place bravado, not the life that he is living.
So yeah, like obviously I don't want to play too much. You can go and listen to the whole album on SoundCloud in the link below. But yeah, Picasso's Dead. It was a song that I made for the kind of boys who I was around 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when we all kind of thought we were gangsters, me more than a lot of them. And they kind of, you know, there's a lyric in that song where my friend who I was speaking to yesterday, weirdly, who I texted him, I was just like, look, I dropped an album. Here it is. Come and have a look. And I was like, you're in it, by the way. You know, you're... I was talking about, there's a lyric that says, watch his friends get smacked and then he acted like he's blind. And that was about a time where there was like me, my friend Willis, and a couple of others. I can't remember who it was. But this guy came out like an actually grown man. Now, bear in mind, we would you know, like mid to late teens at this point. And he just fucking smacked my mate Willis in the face. Fair play to Willis. Like, he fucking stood there. He took the fucking punch to the chin like a fucking boss. Like, but what bothered me about that night, and what bothered me like since then, is like the fact that like there was maybe 4 or 5 of us around that guy, and none of us did anything. And like me especially, it was during the height of my kind of like, I'm a fucking rapper, gangster cunt, like, do you know what I mean? And I did nothing. And it's kind of like a real realization that you just like, nah, you ain't a big man. Like, you like, when shit actually kicked off, you did fuck all, so fucking shut the fuck up. So that's what Picasso's Dead is about. Is like, I'm burying that little prick, the little guy that thought he was a gangster because he could scare old ladies by making them walk across the street and get fucking noise complaints, and do you know what I mean? Like, that's what it was. This is one of the songs that I think I mixed wrong. The voice, the levels of my recording for the... Basically, I recorded the song in 3 different times, at 3 different times, and at those 3 different times, my voice had got gradually worse. So, like, the first recording of it, so the opener, before, like, I recorded the kind of the opening verse up until about halfway through, and then my voice started going. I was like, fuck, I'll have to stop. So I kept that recording, and then I just picked it up the next time I had time to pick up the recording. So I did that, but my voice had got a tiny bit worse. And then what you can hear throughout the song is the levels changing depending on what period of time I recorded it in. So it's a little bit weird. And then some of it kind of jumps and skips about the place. But again, like the last swing I had at recording and finishing that song, my voice was fucked. And there's a few of the songs that I'll point out throughout all of this. My voice was fucked, and I just literally had to finish it. Like, so yeah. I mean, I didn't mind the hook for this song. I thought the hook was okay, but the verses left a little bit wanting. I think I didn't. What I should have aimed for is for people who didn't know what the story was to understand it through the lyrics of the song, and I didn't end up doing that. In retrospect, what I did is I just rapped about things that happened, and then if you know about them, you know about them. If you don't, then what the fuck is this song about? Like, that's kind of what I kind of see people thinking about this song. But yeah, I think it's probably in the lower part of my favorites. So like, it's one of my least favorite songs on the album now. And the idea for it could have been really good, but I just didn't execute it very well, in my opinion. They say you're your own worst critic anyway, so like, well, actually no, I'm not my own worst critic, because a lot of people panned this song. Like, a lot of like, I sent out, like I said, this album to a lot of people, not a lot of people, 5 people who I trust to give me really honest feedback. And obviously the boys in the group like Dyin and a couple of the other boys like Trav, I've been leaking the songs to them as and when they get completed. So I've had quite a lot of feedback, and a lot of people panned this song, and that's fine. Like, it's because I panned it myself. So yeah, so Picasso is Dead. That's the story behind that one. It was just like, I'm burying that little cunt because all he did was rap about having guns that he never had, and shooting people that he never did, and fighting people when he didn't have the fucking balls to stand up for his mate. And just kind of like you ain't a gangster because you make fucking old ladies cross the street when there's 13, 14 of you. Like, so that's kind of what that song was, and that's where I wanted to go with it. I don't feel like I landed exactly where I wanted to, but like I said, it's the learning experience that I take from Decade that's going to move on to future projects. Because I was going to stop after Decade, because I was going to be like, this was going to be the culmination of every bit of talent in rapping that I had. But it didn't end up being that. So like, I don't want it to end like that. Do you know, like, I feel like a prize fighter that just trying to end his career on a loss, like that type of thing. And I'm not going to do that. So what I'm going to do now, probably, well, I've already started working on another project. I don't think it's going to be a full album like this one was, because it was just so much work. But I might just keep on dripping songs, but with the things that I've learned from doing Decade, hopefully the new songs will be way more, it'll be less restricted for a start. So I gave myself so many restrictions on this album. It was like, right, you have 3 months to do it, because you need to drop it at the same time that you fucking dropped it last time, within 10 years. So I gave myself 3 months to fully write, fully record, fully mix, and fully master a whole album alone, which is fucking insane, to be honest with you. So there's no time restrictions on my next project. I'm not doing it. I'm not fucking saying like, look, like, I'm gonna call it fucking 6 months, and then I gotta do it in 6 months. No, fuck that shit. Like, I'm gonna try my best to just kind of do what needs to be done, like, it's not going to be an album. I really, really doubt that it's going to be an album. What I'm probably going to do is I'm just going to keep on doing tracks, and I'll drop them as and when they're ready, like, and hopefully just get better and better at doing that stuff. So like, I'm really, really concentrating on the production side of it, getting the recordings correct, getting the levels correct, getting the mixes correct, and then getting the master correct, because there's a couple of times where well, it depends on what sound system you're listening to. So I recorded this using pure audio from a audio interface. So basically it literally gives you what the sound does sound like. It doesn't add any bass, it doesn't add anything. And then what I did is I listened to it on an Echo Dot, which is kind of like it was my benchmark for low quality speakers. And then I listened to it on just the Echo, which is slightly better. It adds a touch more bass into it, pushes the bass, and then the volume goes up. And then that was fine. And then I listened to it in my car. So every song that I did, I listened to it on all of those. And some of my songs blow out in my car. So I don't like it. It didn't blow out on any of the Echoes. It didn't blow out in the studio. But it did blow out in my car. So there's a couple of mastering issues that I don't know if it is a mastering issue or if it's my car issue. Like, if it was other people, like, I know there's people that are going to be listening to this that have listened to the album. If there's anybody that's listened to it on a different sound system that kind of got different results, I'd love to hear, because like it's all about learning the mastering process anyway. So yeah, but Picasso's Dead is one of the ones that blew out in my car. But it's only at really, really high volume, so I don't know if it's just my sound system just isn't good enough to keep up, like, because when I've listened to it on good sound systems, it sounds better. It still doesn't sound great, because I fucked up the mix. I think my voice sits a little bit too high in this one. It sits too loud in Picasso's Dead. But then we move on to one of my favourite songs, one of the very few that I'm actually proud of on this album, and that's Breathe. I did change it a little bit because I really, like, there's people on my Facebook that are still friends with Kaz, and I really, really, really didn't want Kaz hearing it and being like, what a fucking cunt, why would he do that? She probably still is going to, but I took a snippet of the podcast that I did with Trav, and I put it at the beginning as a kind of nod to understand, for her to understand that, like, look, I wrote this as a 23-year-old person who found out he'd been cheated on, and in the song I say, like, she isn't the only one to blame, because I did some fucked up shit too, like, but obviously I'm not going to make a song about that. It's not as good, you know? But I wrote this song as a 23-year-old guy who found out she'd been cheating on me, and then when we broke up, there was a small period of time where I think, because I was kind of moving on faster than her, she didn't like it, and I understand that. I moved on really quick, and it wasn't very good of me to do that, but at the same time, she didn't really like it, and she was texting me when I was out with Eve, and I think she was just trying to kind of put a dampener on my night, and I can't blame her for that, because, you know, I would if I was in the opposite position, I would have done the same, and I would have cracked. If Eve wasn't about when it all happened, and I kind of had that safety blanket, and some people would call it a rebound. It's a fucking long ass rebound, boys, 6 years. But yeah, like, some people could call it a rebound, and I understand everything. Like, I really, like, I don't want her to listen to that song and be like, fuck, why is he holding on to all this? And I'm not really. I just had an album, and in the last 10 years, one of the biggest things that happened to me, one of the biggest things, you know, I've had a son and stuff as well, but, like, one of the biggest things was, I was due to get married, and then I fucking didn't. We broke up, and it was like, and that experience has changed me. I don't care what anybody says. You know, you go through that stuff, and it is, and it does. It breaks you a little bit. You know, like, you think that you're getting married, and then you don't, and then so this song had to exist. Whether she hates me for it or not, this song has to exist, and you know, there's a bit of me that will always care about Kaz. If something happens to her, then it would hurt me, like, do you know what I mean? But it's because, like, I spent 7 years of my life, and really early developing part of my adult life, I spent with her, like, and she made me the person that I am now in different ways, you know what I mean? Like I learned a lot from her, and at the same time, the damage that was done by our relationship ending has carried on, kind of, into me and Eve, so, like, it's still having knock-on effects now. But, like, what I didn't want this song to be was like a hit on her, like, do you know what I mean? And it comes across like it is, and it isn't. But yeah, so this is Breathe. This is one of the songs that I'm probably most happy with on the song, because it was on the album, because it was written with passion, and I kind of did a bit of method acting when I was writing this, and I put myself back in the position where I found out the things were going on, and I wrote from that perspective. I did a little bit of method, and I just feel like that probably brought out the best in me, you know. So this is Breathe. Fuck's sake. Jesus. So yeah, sorry. This is Breathe. A little snippet of Breathe. So we'll come back after that.
Cause of you and your shit, had to lay my trust to rest. Do I sound bitter? Yeah, you could say that. I was loyal as a dog while you were laying on your back. You were filling up your holes while I couldn't see the cracks. Our relationship was broke when you text that fucker back. But I'ma move on. I'm only 23, wasted 7 years just for you to drop your shit on me since I was 16. You made me think I couldn't bleed, but be on my knees. Turns out it was you with evil deeds.
And that was Breathe. So that was a song that I'm probably the most proud of on this album, like I said. And then, kind of, like, straight after that, so this is a very serious topic, you know, talking about my ex and how it seems like a fucking hit on her, but it isn't. And I wanted to know that, so if she messages me, I'll just be like, listen to the podcast 7, and just, you know, I still like you. I'm glad that it ended the way it did, rather than ending, like, fucking kind of where we hated each other. And I don't hate her. It was just like, I wrote this song from an angry 23-year-old's perspective. But then this goes on to another song that I really, really like on this album, and it's one of the earlier ones. There's probably kind of a pattern with, like, as the album went on, the songs got fucking worse. So early days, I wrote Uncle Roger, Breathe, Blame My Dick, and Monsters, which are probably all in my top of the album. Monsters last verse, maybe not, because it was just kind of, that was rushed, and I kind of went off topic a little bit. But Blame the Dick, the song that I showed on the podcast already, this song is fucking banging. This song is like, this song was put in the album to represent that, like, even though 10 years has passed, I've still got a really fucking childish sense of humor, and I can laugh at fucking overtly sized penises. And that's kind of what this song was about. It was just like, yeah, no, look, I'm 30 years old now, but I still enjoy talking about fucking penises that are thicker than your grand's gravy. Like, so, yeah, and I think that the flow on this is pretty fucking savage. Like, this is a really difficult one to perform, this one was. And I still struggle now, because, like, I can't remember the last time I had my voice where I didn't have to cough to talk. As you probably notice in every fucking podcast. I don't know why. I'm just cough. I cough all the time. As I'm talking about, I have to cough. But yeah, so, like, I haven't had my full voice pretty much since this is the worst time to record an album, I've learned. So if anyone's going to record an album, don't do it over the fucking Christmas period, because you're going to catch colds, and you're going to have fucking sore throats and chest infections and all types of shit. And it doesn't help. So this was Blame the Dick. So this was inspired by a song that I was making with Josh Foster, the guy who I did the sixth podcast with ever, the sixth podcast ever, and we had this idea that we would just make a song, like, he was making a comedy album, and I was like, fuck, let me get some of that then. And he gave me a beat that he was working on a song called Dear Jim. So it was about a wedding speech that where you're admitting to the groom that you fucked the bride. Like, that's what the song was about. I'll stick it at the end of this, right? He keeps on telling me, Dan, put it in the end of a podcast, or put it in a podcast, because I didn't know if I was allowed to play it, because it's his song, like, that I just featured on. But he was like, yeah, no, fuck it. So, like, I'll put it on the end of this just for a laugh. So yeah, so we did that, and then Blame the Dick came about. I was like, I found this beat from Marsad Men from Shadowville, and I was like, this beat is fucking banging. I gotta put a song on this, and it didn't start as Blame the Dick. I can't remember what I think it was called Tripod first of all. I was like, my God, I'm like a tripod. So yeah, this is Blame the Dick, and like, I really enjoy this song, and there isn't really much story behind this one apart from the fact, like, I heard the beat, I was like, I can bang something out to this. I don't really like the hook on this one, because it was like a really quick rush job, because I just wanted the song done. But yeah, this fucking song, like, I could still listen to this song and find it funny, even though I've heard it hundreds and hundreds of times over the last in different iterations over the last 3 or 4 months. So here it is, Blame the Dick.
My God, I'm like a tripod, cause my rod is too fucking die for. These blind boys can even see my giant balls. Giraffe link hung like a shire horse. My flop is your biggest if he floats like a rubber dinghy. Grope at my other bitch if we compare. You look silly, you look little itty bitty. Prick like a little kitty. Grip at my girth and you'll see it's quite intimidating. Wrecking balls legitimate, swing around and break a bitch. Slam dunk a flying dick, be bruising up the toughest clears. You may need a surrogate to pass on your genes after this, cause nobody survives the times I smash your shit like Poppins it. I'm sorry to my victims past who felt my dick rip up their ass and left them with a...
I still fucking love it, see? Absolutely no problems with that song. No, I don't. Thinking about it, I don't like the hook for it, but I mean the song is pretty fucking banging, like. And then right to the end, last verse, switch it on the listener, tell them, nah, I don't have a big dick, I'm lying, got a tiny one. I can touch the bottom of a can of Sprite through the hole in the top. So yeah, so I went from like dark, kind of moody hit piece to uplifting, kind of, whoa, yeah, a little bit of a club banger fucking song about a massive penis that I could wrap around my neck and use as a scarf. But then I didn't want the mood to stay too high for too long, so then I went on to like super depressing Captain fucking Depresso shit. So then track 5 of the album is Monsters, and Monsters is about 2 parts of my life, right? So it's about the time back in the day when me and Kaz split up first, and where Uncle Roger kind of came into the situation. I felt like there was absolutely nothing else I could do in my life. I thought I'd fucked it up, and it was all my fault. I blamed myself, and then I wanted to go and kill myself. Like this is like, I'm fine talking about it now. So yeah, I wanted to go and kill myself, and then I wanted to hybridize that with something a little bit more recent. So the summer that just passed now. I don't know what was wrong with me, but anyone who's listened to the podcast religiously, you'll know the struggles that I had over summer, and the kind of podcast that when I started the podcast, I was doing it for some sort of cathartic response because of how absolutely shit I'd been feeling in myself. And again, I was thinking about like I was having suicidal thoughts. I wasn't planning it, so it wasn't like the first time where the death was the plan. I was just like, oh fuck, I can't do this anymore. I can't get through the days like I am now. And it was mostly work, and then some home life stuff that was kind of because of work, and it was frustrating me. So like, and then I was thinking, no, even if I wanted to now, you just can't, because you got a kid. Like, what's your son gonna think when he grows up and he realizes that, you know, daddy just killed himself? Like, and I know that would just that could destroy a kid. Like, so Monsters was about the shittier times, you know, the times where. So it's kind of hybridized. Like, sometimes I'm talking about the first verse and most of the second verse. I'm talking about the more recent stuff, and then I'm actually thinking about I was using the inspiration of the initial suicide thought, because like back in the day when me and Kaz split up, it wasn't a shout for help. It was a legit, like, I genuinely believe if it wasn't for my Uncle Roger that I would have killed myself then. Like, so this is Monsters. And it's a song about the monsters that are in our head. I'll catch you on the flip side.
We are monsters. Oh.
I'm building a facade just to keep the demons out. Leave no doubt that the big man won't break under pressure when it mounts. But that's a lie, I already broke the second that it pounced. Blindsided by a monster that I can't even pronounce. What am I meant to do? They don't teach this in schools. Writing letters in a dark room, tying up a noose. Suicides for fools. Now where the fuck's my stool? What's my son gonna think when he looks back at the news? If there's anything to save me, it's my fucking baby. I may be broken now, but he's the one who made me. It breaks me to think that it almost changed me. Can't force him to grow up with the hate to fucking blame.
So that was Monsters. That was a little bit more raw for me. Like, do you know what I mean? That was just like the first two verses of that was all passion, and I think the last one was just got a little bit lazy. But like in general, I don't mind that song. The mix is a little bit off. Again, I just pretty much the mix is pretty much off on all of them. But yeah, I really like the beat to that song, and what Syndrome did was a really good job. So like, I thought, fuck no, I'm gonna have to hit this up. So yeah, I did. And there isn't really much else I can say. Like, I didn't like the fact that I was thinking of doing stupid shit when I got a son in my life. Like, that's literally what I wanted to take away from that song. It was just like, and there is a little bit of like a kind of a political agenda at the on the arse end of that song, where it was just like, all I hear about now is like this this patriarchal society where men have it better than everybody else, but it's men that fucking kill themselves more. It's men that are in prison more. It's like, stop using a very, very small 1% of men who are at the top of the game with regards to like running countries and running big companies, and if you look at it as an actual whole, as men do not have the privilege that everybody says that we've got, just because there's a handful of hard-working men that got to the top and they kind of own the monopoly on there. But you know, there's more men in prison, there's more men fucking that kill themselves, and this is the thing, like, at the end of that song that I was trying to get at. It's just like, I didn't want this album to be too political, but I did put that in there because it just frustrates me that apparently because I'm a white male, that my life is fine. Do you know what I mean? Like, my life is fucking great, and I'm not saying that I don't have upper hands in some things, but like, at the same time, I work my ass off to get to where I am, to earn the money that I'm on, and I'm on okay money. but I didn't. Nothing was handed to me ever. Do you know what I mean? Like I've had to prove myself every step of the way. Even more so, I've had to prove myself every step of the way because of shit that got in my way, and I had to be like, well, no, this isn't going to stop me. And yeah, I dedicated a lot of my life to fucking getting good at my craft, and I should get fucking paid to do it. So like, yeah, so that like I'm going into fucking gender pay gap and shit now, but no, like I mean just like. Just because I'm a heterosexual white male, it doesn't mean that I ain't got shit to bitch about. Like, do you know what I mean? It's different shit to your shit. If you're black, if you're transgender, whatever, it's different shit. But we're all human. Like, we all have struggles. So, like, just kind of put that to your forefront. Next song, number 6, was In Between. So this song started as a song. Well, no, it kind of stayed as a song that was about the things that would get in between me and Eve, fully realizing what we've got. Like, do you know what I mean? So, like, right at the beginning, Eve's parents didn't like me, quite simply. Like, I'm not going to lie. They just didn't like me because of the stuff that I did in my past, or the stuff that they heard that I did, which was absolutely no any of what actually happened. But, you know how you're, like, third and fourth hand information about something, and it kind of Chinese whispers all the way up. So, like, I can't blame them because they heard the stories, but at the same time, half of them weren't true. Like, the basis of it was true. Like, what I did was true, but like the other stuff that was added and hyperbolized and stuff is fucking crazy. So In Between was a song about like how me and Eve had to fight kind of people trying to fucking destroy me. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like the first verse was about people trying to destroy me, and then the second verse is kind of like, okay, so we've got past that. Now what we have to do is get past the fact that like Eve really wants to get married. And for me, I feel like the sanctity has kind of gone for me, you know, the sanctity of marriage, because I was engaged and we did all that stuff, and I realized that bit of paper, if we'd have got married, it doesn't change anything. People still cheat, people still fuck each other over, and it just I don't think it's a commitment like it used to be. Marriage is just kind of like a status signal now for me. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just kind of a status symbol, and it's like. And yeah, so like that verse is kind of about like, look, I really want to give you, I want to pledge it all to you, but the pain is unforgettable. I know that you ain't her, but this cuts deeper than I ever knew. It's like, I know that you ain't Kaz, but at the same time, the pain that came off of that for both me and Kaz, the pain that came off that, and the kind of way that it fucking ruined the person that I thought that I was, I don't want to put myself there again, and it's a real struggle, and it's just like, look, it's on the tip of my tongue. I want to ask you to marry me, but it's on the tip of my tongue, I promise. And there'll be a day where I won't stop it from coming out, like, but like, just understand that like the reason that I haven't asked you to marry me is because the scar from the last time I did it is fucking deep, like, do you know what I mean? It hurts. So yeah, this is In Between. It's about me and Eve, pretty much.
You wouldn't have to lay low down and say something lying to their face. But was it worth the pain? You were pushing them away, cause they were trying to kill my name, but I was not what they portrayed. I'm a good guy with some bad luck, till I met her when life sucked. She changed that, it was patched up. It seemed like we were matched up.
And now we go on to some tracks that, well, these next two, I don't like them. Like, so pretty much, track 7, New Girl, which is the next one, was going to be this club banger, bang bang, get up off your seat and fucking dance around shit, but it just ended up being like a really lazy kind of, like, the beat's amazing, but it ended up being like this really lazy lyrical kind of no effort put in kind of jobby, and so much so that on the day that I released the album last Wednesday, I actually had a third verse to put onto New Girl. And instead of finishing writing it, I decided to cut it, and I just chopped the beat. That's how lazy it ended up getting, and this song is like the epitome of what the laziness showed. So I haven't really got much to say about this. It was meant to be this club banger where it was about when I met Eve first, and it was like all kind of fresh and new, and how like she was fucking fresh as a daisy after 6 weeks of just going out straight, and I was starting to feel fucking old as shit, like. And that's what it was about. So, like, this song, I haven't really got much to say about it. It was just, like, it was an afterthought that ended up just being left on the album for some reason, because I don't like it. So, this is New Girl by Mai. and it's about when I met Eve first. So here it is.
Bank account like Mother Hubbard's cupboards. Empty like I blue balled in a Trojan rubber. Without the prefix minus, that's a lot of numbers. Owner of this club's gonna have a good summer. Running out of cash and I'm running out of energy. 6 weeks straight, used to fresh as a daisy. My bones hurt, but I'm loving being this.
So yeah, that was one of the worst songs on the album, in my opinion. In between the next song, which I think is another one of the worst ones. I think the next one, Daddy, track 8, is like, I don't like it because I cringe when I listen to it because one, I sing on it and I don't like how it came out, but I was just like, right, you have to put it out there because you've done it now. So Daddy, it was just meant to be this way more passionate affair than what it actually turned out to be. And it was about the birth of my son, so it was just like how shit it was. Like everybody who listened to last week's podcast knows the score with my son being born. It was just like he came out and we had issues with him fucking crushing his cord, and she nearly went into surgery, and then obviously he came out and he wasn't crying. So like we thought that maybe he may have died, and it's like this. So that's what this song was kind of meant to represent. But it ended up being just, I don't know, like I don't know what to say about it. It's one of my least favorite, but like the people, it's been better accepted by people outside. I think the reason I hate this song is because I cringe when I listen to myself sing because I don't like how it turned out. But it's been received way better than I thought it would because obviously it's an emotional song, so like that's what it's about. So there isn't really much else to explain about this. It's just about like my son being born and like how there was a time where I thought that I wouldn't hear him say "I love you, Daddy" because I thought he had died. But like, yeah. So like, this is the song, Daddy. The beat is by All Rounder. So yeah. So like the producers on this album were fucking top notch. Like Troyer, Syndrome, Marsad Men, Evolution. Just like a load of thing. That's the thing I'm gonna do in my next one though. Is I'm gonna write the song and then create the beats myself for the songs. So that's what my next project's going to be. That's what my next project's going to be different. One, I could sell the album then if I wanted to. I probably won't, but it's like I have the rights to it because I'd have made everything myself then. Whereas this album, even if I wanted to sell it, which I never did, I can't because of the beats. Like I own the licenses to the beats, but it's not to make money off them. So yeah. So like I wouldn't be monetizing it in any way. But here's Daddy, from Decade, track 8.
It's 2015. Hospital bed, time is ticking. She tied to 100 machines and they all keep beeping. 8 hours now. Please hurry up, we waiting. Alarm goes off and now the room is filling. You're leaning on your cord so you can't breathe. Your mom is scared and it's the same for me.
So I'm going to cut that out just before I start singing because I fucking hate listening to it. So yeah, that was Daddy. It was kind of like, it was me talking to my son for the first verse, and then it's me explaining it later on. So yeah, I mean, it probably isn't as bad as I put it in my brain to be, but yeah, that was Daddy. This was going to be a 10-song album. Well, it was going to be 9 songs and then a bonus track for the CD release. I didn't have money for the CD release, and I'm kind of glad because I didn't want to wait. It would have been a waste of money because I don't like this album enough to spend money on it for a CD release. Like that's my honest opinion. So maybe if I end up doing another album where I'm really happy with it, I get a full release. So yeah, so that was Daddy. So it was gonna be 9 songs and a bonus track, but I cut the bonus track because it was kind of a lot of the same stuff as Picasso is Dead. It was called You Ain't a Gangster, and it was about kind of I'm talking to myself, and it's like, you ain't a gangster, bitch. And it's like, again, it was just full of stuff that I was just like taunting myself with because I'm like, I was a piece of shit when I was a kid. I thought that I was fucking hard as nails for some reason, even though I would never get into fights. And when I got into fights, I got fucking battered. So I dropped that song, so it ended up being a 9-song album. And then in this last song, My Revival, as I said before, this took on so many different forms. First of all, it was this really slow song. It was kind of reminiscent of Stan by Eminem. It was kind of I was talking as if someone was talking to me, if you get me. And I can't remember. Maybe I've got a little. Maybe I'm all right. I'm gonna see if I've got a little snippet of what my revival was gonna be, and you'll see the difference that it took. Thing. So like my revival now in its final product that went onto the album was about how I've kind of revived myself as a different person than I used to be, and it's about the hypocrisy that's like intertwined with my life, about how I kind of feel now about certain things. So like the hypocrisy that I wrote a song like Breathe about Kaz, which like I said, it seems like a hit piece on her, and then within 2 years I did the same to Eve. I cheated on Eve, and like how hypocritical that is, about how it's fine because it's me this time, so it's fine. So, you know, like Kaz broke my heart and fucking destroyed me, but it's okay if I did it to Eve. It's fine. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what the second verse is about, and then the first verse and the third verse kind of intertwine. So it's like the first verse sets it up that like don't touch my fucking kid. Do you know what I mean? Like don't do shit to my kid because I'll kill you. Like, do you know what I mean? But then that's hypocritical because I was the other kid. 15 years ago, I was the kid. I had fucking Damien Kemeny, and I was fucking making him go out in the rain, and so it's kind of like it's a little bit of a mash. But it's mostly about the hypocrisy that I find myself dealing with every day. Like it's just like, yeah, don't fuck with my kid, but it's okay because I fucking destroyed some other kid the other day. Like, do you know what I mean? But by the other day, I mean 15 years ago when I was in school. But fuck's sake. But yeah, that's what the idea of this song was, and it was initially soft as fuck, and I will show you because I own the rights to the beat for the other one as well. But this ended up being like, it was kind of like that hard kind of like boom boom, like it didn't start out that way, but I'll play it. And yeah, I didn't mind this song. There's a couple of people that said that it was their worst song on the album. Like, I don't know how you could say that when New Girl and fucking, you know, when New Girl's on there and Picasso's dead. But like, I don't mind this song. I love that. Like, the beat's amazing. That was by Troy. And yeah, so like the reason that this song became about this way is because I didn't want any more female vocalists on it. So I decided that I would just do it differently. I would do it my own voice again. So yeah, this is my revival and the last song on the album.
Because the thing that I most fear is the shit that I'll be in when I make my problems clear. You see, I do things, I say things without the thought. Like when I'm with my kid at school with a toy that I just bought, and your kid comes up like, what the fuck you got? He hits him, he claims it, he takes it and walks off. Now my blood is in the kettle and it's about to bubble. Cause if you don't fix this shit right now, I'm kicking up some trouble. I'll be picking up this toy truck, I'll swing it at your stubble. They'll be trying to find your hairpiece just by looking through the Hubble. I need to stop, let me get off this train. I need to move, let me invoke that change.
So I said I would show you what my revival initially started as. I did have to just go into my recycle bin to find it, but I have found the file. It wasn't finalized, so like I never even finished the verse that it was. But I'll show you now as a little bit of an exclusive into what went into, you know, the things that got cut from this album that probably were better than some of the things that got left in. So let's have a look here. This is what my revival was initially going to sound like. Here it is.
Hey P, where you been? I've been listening to King of Kings on MySpace since like 2010 or 2008. Anyway, back then it was great. Where you been, man? I hope you still spit it. I heard about your grand, man, I'm sorry it's shit, but I'm glad you found a way to rap and help you get through it. She'd be proud of the man you became, and she knew it. You were destined for greatness, P, she helped you get to it. But a decade's a long time, lots more people on the line. They touch you in different ways, they help push you on your grind. Keep the lessons with you if you can't keep the people, and make this life the best, cause you can't make the sequel. Don't hold on the grudges that go with the evil. I hope you're doing great, man, I can't wait to see you. You didn't seem right, dude, the last that I heard. Did something bad happen between you and your girl? Fuck, man, I saw it myself.
So yeah, that's it. That is Decade. That's the end of a testing time for me, I think. So yeah, I'm happy that it's done, and I'm happy that I've learned so much from it. I'm not so happy with the content, and I'm not as happy as I thought I would be with the content. But I don't know how much of it is related to like just being your own worst judge and your own worst critic, or if it actually is bad. And like I'm fine with both, because I've taken a lot away from it. I've learned a lot, and that's what is important. At the end of the day, if I just want to keep on doing this, I want to keep on trying, and it goes the same with everything. Like, I mean, it's a lesson for life. Like, do you know what I mean? If you want to get good at something, you have to practice, and I think it's a massive thing. Like, I had to keep motivated. I had to motivate myself. Although I struggled, obviously, at times I cut verses and I got rid of whole songs, but this was a solo project from start to finish. Apart from the beats, I did everything. Like, sorry, one sec. I literally did everything from start to finish. All the recording was done by me. So I didn't even have any features to kind of drop off some verses on. I had to do every verse for every song. I didn't get ghostwriters. I didn't do nothing. I did it all myself. And you can tell, actually, because there's some shit ones. But it's been generally well received. And I don't know how much of it is just people saying nice things because it's nice to say nice things to people that have put, like, I think you can tell I put some effort into it, like, do you know what I mean? So I'm really thankful for the people that have listened to it all the way through. I'm very thankful for the people that gave me the shit criticisms, like the ones that were just like, nah, Dan, that song's fucking pants, like, do you know what I mean? And I'm fine with that, because, like, you have to be able to take that stuff when you put in stuff like this out in the domain. So if any, like, actual real hip-hop fans listen to it, like, they probably wouldn't like this album, but people who are like, oh, I know Dan, and like it's a good effort, like. So yeah, I mean, Decade is done. I've already started writing a new project, and it's a little bit more dark. It's a little bit more intense, and it's less colourful, So that'll come out soon. I'll probably just drop it at some point on the. Fuck. I'll probably just drop it on the podcast at some point. So thanks very much for your time, guys. I hope this gave you a little bit more of an insight into what the songs were about, because like a lot of people that are listening now didn't know me back in the day. So yeah, I'm really thankful for your time, guys. I hope you're still having a very nice January. Work is really slow for me at the minute, so yeah. And we're gonna speak to Dai, and we're gonna get him back involved. And Dai listened to the album, and he was like, nah, I wanna do a track with you, like. So maybe I'll have Ling Ping on a track for the next project. So fuck those. I legitimately don't know what I'm gonna do, but he's up for it now. We'll see when it actually comes to it. But thanks very much for your time, guys. I value every minute that you put into these podcasts, listening to them, and giving me, like Keely, Wilbur, Emma, all you guys. You engage on almost every podcast. And I'm really thankful for you guys just being here along with the ride for me, riding on me. I don't know. Wilbur, I don't want you riding on me, mate. I'm sorry. But, fuck. See, now I'm digressing as fuck now. So, right, guys. Thanks very much for your time. It's been a pleasure working on this album to just drop it for the people that are wanting to listen to it. And I understand there's flaws with it. But yeah, much love to all of you guys. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Ta-ra.